Hello, this is Raf Alvarado and welcome to Exploratory Text Analytics. In this video we're going to look at Word2Vec. So what is Word2Vec? Word2Vec is a recent and highly successful word embedding approach that was developed in 2013 at Google by Thomas Mikolov and others. I've asked you to look at the paper, 2013 publication of the efficient estimation of word representations in vector space. There have been many variations and advances on what they propose in that paper, but basically this is the foundation for Word2Vec and what caused all the fuss and excitement about this new approach. It's important to note that Word2Vec as a word actually refers to the specific software package that was designed to implement something called SGNS, which stands for skip gram negative sampling. Skip gram negative sampling is the name of the algorithm and the method that's specifically developed in that paper and which is built on later with all the different variations, whereas Word2Vec is just the name of the software package that the URL there provides access to. In common usage, however, they're used almost synonymously. People talk about the Word2Vec algorithm and not necessarily speaking specifically to the software package. So what is Word2Vec or the SGNS algorithm? Well, it's an approach that's pretty interesting. It uses a simple two-layer neural network to produce word embeddings. So we saw earlier that word embeddings, it's a generic concept. You can have there are any number of ways to produce a dense word context matrix, vector space. But in this approach, what they do is they use a neural network to do the work for them. And what happens is that you basically create a whole bunch of documents, and we'll look at the structure of those, documents which just consist of a word plus its surrounding preceding and following words by some n factor, like 2 or 3. So you'll have a word plus the 2 words preceding and the 2 words following it, and that will be represented by a one-hot encoded vector with the center word popped out, or the reverse in the case of the other way of doing it, which we're going to look at in a second, which is pretty interesting. And what's most interesting about the approach is that the purpose of the neural network is not to actually do any kind of classification. It goes through this process of, in the case of the case where the central word is taken out, that word is used as a label, and so it goes through the process of predicting the existence of that central word in the context word vector. But what happens is that you actually pull out the layer from the neural network and use that as the word context matrix. It's really cool, actually. And the way it works, there's a good paper that I have listed as well to take a look at optionally. It really what's going on is the neural network is doing a word context matrix factorization, similar to what we've seen already with principal component analysis and LSA, and even with topic modeling, where you have a kind of a generative approach to producing a factored matrix. So same kind of thing going on here, but by different means. So here's a way of looking at how the data gets transformed into this into a state that the neural network can work with. So you look on the right-hand side. That's a table. You can imagine that as a table of words where the text, "the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," is represented in a token table format and then transformed into this particular way. And I'm going to show you guys a notebook where that is actually accomplished. So what basically can imagine that the token table gets transformed into the training samples that you see on the right, and those essentially are accomplishing what you see on the left there. They're representing windows of text. So these are all, if you will, each one of these items here, these 4 items, are bags of words in this new way of creating a bag, which is as a sliding window. And once you have that, you can then convert those into one hot encoded version. So here's a matrix that shows the 4 sentences on the left, or the 4 sliding windows on the left, represented as one-hot encoded data. And that kind of data, if you take that table on the right and transpose it, you can feed it into a neural network, and that's what we have here. So the 2 approaches are CBAL, which means continuous bag of words, where you try to predict the central word. So that would be the blue word here. This is a CBAL representation. And you'll notice that in the one-hot encoding, the blue word is a 0. So here, the is the word to predict. Next, it's quick. And so quick is a 0. The next is brown, and brown is a 0. And then fox is to be predicted here, and so fox is a 0. That gets fed to the neural network, and then it accomplishes its work, and then you pull out the layer and use that as your word embedding. These are the 2 approaches, CBAL and skipgram, and they have advantages and disadvantages. So the other part to using Word2Vec is that it's almost always complemented by a particular visualization technique called t-SNE, where words, which are points in n-dimensional semantic space, are projected onto 2 or 3 dimensions using this method. So t-SNE stands for T-Distributed Stochastic Neighbor Embedding, and it's a pretty powerful algorithm that involves the construction of a probability distribution over pairs of high-dimensional objects. So you get, in the high-dimensional space, you get all the pairs of words, and then you create a probability distribution based on how similar each pair is. And then you choose pairs from this distribution and construct another probability distribution over the points in the lower dimensional map, using KL divergence to minimize these. You don't really have to understand how this works, just giving you a little bit of what's going on under the hood here. The point is that this method produces results like this. And this is pretty neat. This is a map of a subset of the words in the novels corpus that we're going to look at. And you can see it just looks like a scatter plot of words, but if you zoom in, you can see that the words cluster around their common meanings, or their common types, if you will. And I've zeroed in on this particular square here because these are all the words that relate to kinship, and so or family. So here you see aunt, mother, husband, sister, brother, son, wife, daughter, all in the same area. And what you'll find is, and we'll look at this in our exercise, is that this is almost like a country with terrain relating to different semantic properties. It's very interesting. I've done this for lots of different corpora. For example, if I have time, I'll show you one that I've done for a corpus of wine reviews. And it's really neat because you can see, there's one little region for all the foods that you can pair with wine, and there's another region for all the fruits that are associated with white wine flavor, and all the words that are associated with grapes. Types, varieties of grapes and things like that. So it's a really neat and very sort of satisfying representation of the map of meaning in a text. And so this gets back to the original, purpose of looking at Word2Vec, which is to try to surface these cultural networks, or these landscapes of meaning that text corpora contain. So regarding the kind of tools you can use to create your own Word2Vec models, or take advantage of Word2Vec models that have already been pre-trained, the 2 to look at, you can look at Google's original C code if you're interested in that, but really the important one for us is GenSim's library, which we're going to use in this class, and which is a Python library that implements the Google code. And it's important to note that there are variants. This is a relatively fast-moving field, as all of data science is, and 2 other methods that tweak and sort of extend the Word2Vec method are GLOVE, which stands for Global Vectors, developed at Stanford's. I'm not sure if it's not the Literary Lab, but Natural Language Processing Group. And then there's Facebook, which has developed fast text. It's a scalable version of SGNS. And both of those are there. You can go to the websites, and in addition to providing a different algorithm approach to computing word embeddings, you can download pre-trained word embeddings, and then these can be used in your data model of your text. So you can just attach them, the subset of the words that are trained that match onto the vocabulary of your corpus. They can just be attached there, and then you have features that you can use to do some further analytics.